Hi, my name is Elizabeth Tomos and I'm really pleased to be mixing it up with you today. So I have my vessel with the questions that Mark Devereux Projects have given me. So I'm going to give them a bit of a shuffle. Okay, let's see. What do you do outside your art practice? I love to sing. So I play at folk nights and open mic nights. I also do some amateur theatre. So I'm going to be in a production of Little Women shortly. I also like to cook. Yeah, those are the kinds of things I do. Lots of creative things. Okay. So get another one from the pot. Okay, what's this one? Oh, that's quite a nice one. Who do you go to when you need help and advice? And honestly, it probably depends on what for. In terms of within my art practice, you can probably see here, I'm in my studio. I'm part of a studio complex, and so the other artists here, the studio manager, the people that run the gallery, and so in terms of art advice, they're probably my first port of call, and then things like artist newsletter and other artist practitioners, artist friends, that kind of thing. Okay, another one from the pot. Okay, I'm going to get some from the bottom as well. What piece of advice do you think every artist should know? I think probably the thing I wish I'd known maybe earlier in my career was the extent to which network is critical. I've moved a lot, and so that meant that I was constantly shifting the people I was around, and I think that stunted my practice because it meant I wasn't building the longevity of connections to curators or to venues in a specific place. So I think probably what I would have wanted to know that was that place and situation is maybe more important than you give it credit for. Okay, let's see if we can get another one. Okay. Could you tell us about your current project with the Northampton Community Foundation Creative Climate Action Fund? Yes, I absolutely can. So this is a new fund in the Northampton area. So Northampton is a relatively small market town, about 50 minutes north of London by train. And the Northampton Community Foundation are specifically for this area, and they develop funds for kind of different types of community engaged project. And they've run something called the Creative Climate Action Fund for the first time this year. There's 2 projects with that, and basically we're looking at using the arts to support local communities to address climate change. So I'm running 5 workshops, and they're being repeated in different venues around the county. And each workshop addresses an issue within climate change, so like air pollution, water pollution, soil erosion, and so on. And then we look at what is the issue that we're facing, how is it manifesting, what are the kind of emotions around things like climate anxiety, climate grief that are being raised for people. And then using the permaculture principles, we're looking at how those can be used to do good kind of land management, well-being, and creative well-being packages, essentially. So it's sort of giving people tools, both practically and in terms of their mental health, to adapt and develop resilience in the face of climate change. And they've also commissioned a performance from me, which will be in June, and that performance is specifically around climate change as well. So that's that. I think we've probably got a little bit of time to do a couple more. Okay. Can you describe the first piece of artwork you remember seeing? So when I was about 7 or 8, my parents took me to Giverny, Monet's garden in Giverny. So it wasn't necessarily the artwork, but it was the site of the artwork. And I remember standing on the bridge that is the subject of the water lilies painting, and it's such a beautiful garden. It's been so wonderfully constructed, and I just loved the environment of it and the light and the colours, and then you could go into his house and some of the works were there. And so I think that was the first time I sort of had a glimpse into an artist's life, or the way that they had kind of made work. Okay, a couple more out of this pot. Okay, let's see what we got. Who would you most like to collaborate with, dead or alive? I always feel like questions like this are really hard to answer, because there's just so many incredible female artists out there who I just have enormous respect for. You know, Anna Mendieta, Louise Bourgeois, Tracy Emin, all of the kind of 70s feminist artists like Judy Chicago, the Guerrilla Girls. But then there's also amazing artists now like Adelaide de Moa and M. Lauram, who are doing just phenomenal work. So I always feel like it's tricky to pick one person that I would love to have made a work with. I think probably because of her interest in kind of ecological works, I feel like the person certainly I would most like to have spent some time with is probably Anna Mendieta, and I am always very sad that her life was cut short, because I wonder what she would have produced if she'd had the chance to. So I think probably that. Okay, I think this might be the last question we have time for. We'll see. What do you most need to learn? That's a really interesting question. I think it's probably a bit of a cliche, but probably to trust in what I do. I think most creative people I meet are very often suffer from like imposter syndrome, and don't sort of see their own value perhaps, or and I think because being in the art world so much depends on being quite proactive in putting yourself out there, I think the thing it's taken me the most time to learn over the course of my career has been that confidence in what I do, and believing in the nature of the practice and trusting in that and allowing it to kind of evolve and become this entity in its own right. So I think it's probably something around that, I think it's very easy to look at all the incredible art that's been created, both historically and now, and feel like you're a little lost within that, like you're not really sure maybe where you fit. And so I think there's a kind of confidence that being an artist requires, that takes time to develop. It takes age and experience to develop that. It's certainly not something I kind of came out of uni with. I think it's something that's come through making and through meeting people and seeing the work evolve and develop and become stronger. I think that's kind of how that's worked. Okay, this is definitely the last one. This needs to be 10 minutes, this video. What artwork do you wish you had made, and why? This probably links back to what I was saying about collaboration. I think probably for me it would be the Anna Mendieta works where she placed her body in the landscape. I just find those kind of photographs really stunningly beautiful, but also there's a lot of pain bound up with them, and I just think they're a really kind of extraordinary early ecofeminist work, and they've become, I suppose, sort of a bit of a kind of flagship work for that field, and I just have huge respect for her and for what she did. So I think that's my answer to that. And that's our time over. So thank you so much for being with me today. It's been a real pleasure to do this mixing up for you. You can find out more about me by Googling Elizabeth Tomos, that's Tomos, and you'll find my website, which is .com, or Instagram, which is @Elizabeth_Tomos. Thanks for listening. Bye.